Welcome back. Paul Catalina, David Smoke, and Craig Smoke here with you on 365 Sports. John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist, with us now. And John, the Jameis Winston performance last night, and I know we'll talk about the Texans, but do you think in spite of the pick sixes that because he can put up so many yards that the Browns or someone will make him their starting quarterback next season?
The last year he was a full-time starter. He threw 30 touchdown passes and 30 interceptions. Interceptions are still a problem. I think the Browns will try to bring him back on a one-year contract while they try to get a young quarterback, because I don't think Watson's going to play for him again. And I saw a stat today that Winston last night threw for more yards than any quarterback in pro football history, almost 700. Almost 500 for the Browns, and then the rest that he threw for the Broncos. In essence, he had 6 touchdown passes, four for the Browns and 2 for the Broncos.
Oh, my God. You counted the return yards for his passing yards. I love it. I love it. Craig?
John, the Houston Texans, your beat there, 23-20 over the Jaguars to get a nice win before the bye week. How would you sort of rate where the Texans stand at this point as they get a little bit of a breather?
Craig, you're the first person to ask me about anything involving the Texans other than Azeez Al Shaair. The Texans were lucky to win that game. They beat a team that was 2-9, a team that was the worst in the NFL in defense, but they still beat them. They haven't lost on the road to Jacksonville since 2017. Haven't lost on the road in the AFC South since 2021. And of course, the game was marred by Al Shaair's hit on Trevor Lawerence that got him ejected in the NFL, suspended for 3 games today, and he's appealed, hoping to get it suspended for 2.
All right, well, let's speak of that. It was a hit. It did seem like it knocked out Trevor Lawerence for a moment. I've seen players, former quarterbacks, even defend the hit, or at least quarterbacks telling other quarterbacks you need to learn to get down. Obviously, the Texans are supporting him, as they should. As long as you've been covering the game, what were your thoughts on it?
Well, I thought it was one of the most egregious hits I've ever seen. I tweeted immediately, he should be fined and suspended. I thought he'd be suspended for a game, maybe 2, not 3. They're in their bye week, and when they come out, within a 10-day span, they play Miami here, at Kansas City, and Baltimore here on Christmas Day. That's within 10 days. Al Shaair is one of their best defensive players, a team captain. He's a great guy. Everybody loves him, respects him. Today he's at a United Way event, and he's one of their biggest charity guys. But that's got nothing to do with the hit that he put on Trevor Lawerence. And what the players and Texans fans are kind of going crazy, acting like it's Trevor Lawrence's fault. And they're showing quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes fake a slide and gain another 10 yards, or act like he's going to run out of bounds, tiptoe for another 5, and the defensive players don't hit him. But that's the way Al Shaair plays. He's never been suspended. This is the first time. Nick Caserio, the GM, blasted the NFL today because of their inconsistencies with their suspensions. Now, nobody, not D'Amico Ryans, who said after the game, this is not the way we coach. We don't encourage this. Al Shaair apologized to Trevor Lawerence. He said, I agree with the Jaguars coming after me. I would have done the same thing, apologized to the Texans. But Caserio went ballistic, said it was BS because of the inconsistencies. And he talked about a lot of situations where players ejected. They don't get suspended. I figure he's going to get fined by the NFL. But remember, anytime a coach or a GM is talking to the media, they're talking to the players. And they wanted the players, specifically Al Shaair and everybody else, to know, we got your back. They don't care what the media says. They don't care what anybody says, although Caserio said it's ridiculous the way John Runyon, who heads the NFL police force, and he was one of the dirtiest players in NFL history. People are running some of his egregious hits when he played. And I've told him here, he's an expert on dirty play. Who better to hand out fines and suspensions than a guy that knows more about cheap shots than anybody? So Caserio is upset because of the way Al Shaair's being portrayed around the league, like he's a criminal or something when he's never been suspended. And also the way the NFL release was worded. They said, you don't know this guy. How can you word that release the way they did? So it's been a very interesting day today, and I'm writing all about it tomorrow for HoustonTexans.com.
Yeah, John Runyon's like Leo DiCaprio at the end of Catch Me If You Can, John, where he's helping the FBI catch other forgers. Now, Matt Eberflus had the worst end of a game that maybe a coach can have on Thanksgiving, where, I mean, there's never been, like, he could not give an explanation of what the hell were you thinking. One, have you ever seen anything that bad from a coach? And two, what kind of a coach do the Bears need to get to replace him and maximize Caleb Williams?
There's been a lot of instances of bad clock management. Andy Reid used to get ripped for it all the time. Then he drafted Patrick Mahomes. Now he's a Hall of Fame coach. And most coaches have somebody up in the booth communicating with them, telling them you need to do this, you need to do that. And there obviously was a miscommunication. And I think if Eberflus had handled it better after the game and admitted we screwed that up, I'd take the blame instead of saying we did this right when everybody knew they didn't, that he might not have been fired before the season was over. Now, all we know is they're going to have our coach with an offensive background. Usually when you fire a defensive coach, you go for an offensive coach. When all your talent right now is at the skill positions, including Caleb Williams, and you got to spend this off season beefing up your offensive line because their defense is already good. And Eberflus is going to get a defensive coordinator's job because he's a really good defensive coach. But I think they'll go after Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, maybe number one, or Cliff Kingsbury. It's funny, when Cliff was fired in Arizona, everybody thought his days were over as a head coach. He goes to USC, coaches Caleb Williams, goes to Washington, coaches Jake Daniels. Now Caleb Williams has got an opening, and it's just right there for Cliff Kingsbury. But I think it'll be Johnson or Kingsbury.
Hey, John, you've seen a lot of guys play quarterback at different levels that are both pretty good passers, but also could run with the football. And I know there's been like Randall Cunningham and what Michael Vick did, but can you try to explain what you watch when you see what Josh Allen does?
Well, Josh Allen is bigger. Josh Allen is a bigger tight end, and he's strong and he's smart. He breaks a lot of tackles. Early in his career, he took a lot of direct hits. He's smarter about it now, and that comes with experience, and they've done a good job coaching him on it. And Steve Young was a great running quarterback. Bobby Douglas of the Bears ran for 1,000 yards back when they were playing 14 games, and he couldn't pass the ball 10 yards. And Michael Vick is still the best running quarterback I've ever seen. It's like he said he should have been playing running back, but then because he had a great arm when he was playing as a kid, they gave him a football because he could throw it. That's how he ended up being a quarterback. And Lamar Jackson's great, elusive, but Josh Allen, one person can generally not bring him down. Yeah, by the way, guys, I'm hoping that the Bears come to Houston because I think the publicity is good for recruiting. And I saw the ESPN experts said against A&M or LSU. A&M's not coming here. They came here last year. They can't draw squat here because their fans, they don't want to be here. They think that the Aggies, all their players quit so they could get ready for the NFL. I'm hoping it's Arkansas because I'd like to see a SWC angle. It's a possibility of LSU if Baylor comes here. They always say it's up to the SEC and the Big 12. No, it's up to ESPN.
Yeah, there you go. College football standings coming out tonight, one more, and then the one that matters. But your thoughts, because, John, the easy thing for Mack Rhoades to have done was fire Dave Aranda, move on, have to pay him a big check, but that's what everyone else seems to do. His job, I even think sometimes people thought that his decision about Aranda would be him with his neck on the line. And I remember I asked him this in a meeting last year. He said, it won't be the first time that people hire a coach, keep a coach, and then it doesn't work out. If, in fact, that's the case, okay, we move on. What are your thoughts about how patient he was and what Aranda has done to reward really a lot of people who thought he wouldn't be around by now?
Well, I'm one of those that thought he'd be fired after the season when they started so poorly. I didn't think he deserved to be fired after last season because, by his own admission, he was late to the table when it came to NIL. Now they're trying to get back in it, and they're paying more money, which you have to do. And I'll say this about Aranda. I thought he made a mistake hiring Jake Spavital. I said, well, now why would he want to come there knowing that there's a good chance Aranda could be fired after the season? Turned out to be a brilliant move, hoping now that they give Spavital a raise because others, I'm sure, are going to be checking him out as an offensive coordinator. But you think about the players who are going to come back next year. Baylor is so much more attractive in this portal period than they were last year. So they need another couple of linemen. Jimmy Turner, write us a check. Drake McClain, write us a check. David Smoke, write us a check. Paul no. So I think that Baylor's recruiting is going to be good when it comes to the portal. Players are going to want to play there, and Spavital's done a great job. All those position coaches, the offensive line is so much better. The running backs, there's a lot of coaches on this staff that deserve a raise. You know what? Mack Rhoades might deserve one too.
By the way, National Signing Day tomorrow, and they have a nice class, probably one of the better ones that Baylor's ever had. Bryles' staff had a couple of pretty high ones, but this one here appears to be probably around 25 or so, which for Baylor is about sometimes as high as they might be able to go.
Well, I hope they don't. I hope guys like Josh Cameron stay, don't go. Triggs stay, don't go. Try to go to the pros, not get drafted, and be a free agent. Come back one more year, play with Sawyer Robertson the way they played this year. Then you got a chance to make more money. And I'd settle for a few more Bryson Washingtons, and I think you guys would too. And I'm hoping they step up his NIL money. I'm guessing coming from Franklin, where he probably went to the Dairy Queen every day, that his price is going to go up because a lot of schools are going to be coming after him.
The best part about Dairy Queen are those 3 tacos, crispy tacos. That's one of the best parts of going to Dairy Queen.
Yeah. But wait, Dairy Queen in another state doesn't have tacos.
What?
Yeah. So when I was in Tennessee, we took Amanda's friend's son to Dairy Queen, and I went, there's no tacos. And he was like, your Dairy Queen has tacos?
No, they do, and they're good. They're crispy.
Well,
you got to eat them pretty quick or they'll get a little soggy in that box. John, thank you, buddy. Great to hear from you, the Hall of Famer, whenever we can on Tuesdays. Thanks for your time.
Good luck to those fighting Baylor Bears against UConn.
Yes, sir.
Pick 'em.
Thank you. John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist. And in fact,